Hello and welcome to episode 183 of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk filmmaking, from indie film to studio films and everything in between. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to F it up, in our very, very humble opinion. The Dare is released in 2 weeks' time in the UK. 2 weeks. October the 5th, The Dare will be out in the UK. I am super, super excited. I am Giles Alderson. I'm a writer, director, and a producer. And today, we are talking with the fantastic multi-hyphenate Faleena Hopkins. We're talking about how to write, direct, star, and fund your own feature film based on your own novels. It is amazing. She's very funny, she's very bright, and she gives so much advice to you filmmakers. Faleena is a treat. So we talk about what it's like to act and direct at the same time. We talk about how she funded the movie and how she learned to edit. And also how she got the movie out there into the marketplace. You're going to enjoy this one. Myself and Robbie McKane sat down and had a lovely chat with her. So I'm not going to do a rambling intro today. I'm going to get straight to it because it's so much fun. And the Dare's out in 2 weeks, and to be honest, there's not much more you need to know this week than that. So this is myself and Robbie McKane chatting with Faleena Hopkins about her movie, Just One More Kiss, which is what happens when the love of your life returns as a ghost. Enjoy this week's Filmmakers Podcast. Hi, Faleena.
Hi, Robbie. Nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. How you doing?
I'm really good. I'm really, really good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
I've been listening for a while, but I have to say there was one story that really got me. There was a guy, John... Langston?
Langridge. He made
Langridge.
Braves, yes.
That's it. He had, when he had that actor not show up, and then he turned out to get the guy who he really wanted the whole time. I'll never forget that story because we had that happen so many times in the filming where we're like, if something fell apart, it's because something better was supposed to be there. And it was interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you listened. Thank you so much for even listening, and I hope it's been useful.
Well, it's great that you guys are doing this. Yeah, it's super helpful. I mean, it's like having people from all over the world giving you their advice. So I know it can be done, and that's, it's very helpful, you guys. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, I'm so glad. It's we love it when people give comments because, we do it because we love it, but also we want to help indie filmmakers. And it's just so good when you get people say, no, we've learned from it, and that's amazing.
That's always really good to hear.
Yeah.
Because we all, did you guys always want to be filmmakers when you were kids?
I did. Well, I wanted to be an actor, and I did that for about 10, 15 years. So I wanted to do that.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah.
Once you figure out you can't be an astronaut, that's kind of the next logical step, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Everybody wants to be an astronaut.
Yeah. See, I'd much rather be an astronaut now. I'm finding it fascinating now, learning about space and stuff. And as a kid, I wasn't that bothered. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm like, no, I kind of fancy that. It's a bit late.
Actually don't really, I want to find treasures. I love like hidden rooms and stuff. And I've always wanted to have the kind of house where you push a button and nobody notices and all of a sudden you're in another room. I love that.
I love that.
Well, where did she go?
Yeah, where did she go?
Yes.
In The Kingsman, when he goes into the Savile Row shop. And he's like, and then they press a button and there's loads of guns and different world in there. That's amazing.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
James Bond.
And they're like, oh, it just looks like a normal, or like, it would be funny in a donut shop, wouldn't it? You just made it like now donuts. They're like, oh, would you like an eclair or boom, an AK-47?
Hidden behind there's a hidden speakeasy where they sell black market merchandise.
That's amazing. Yes. Yeah, you could just see that you could get whatever food you want there as well. It's not just donuts. You know what I mean?
No, it looks like it's donuts.
Yeah, but they're not really. They're all made out of gold. Not really donuts.
I mean, but they're good donuts, so they attract people and it looks like it's legit, but on the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. We just need to open that door. We need to find that donut shop and we need to buy it right now and, set it all up. which could be a great idea for a film, actually. I think that could be really interesting.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it'll be in the movie where we're like, I don't want donuts, I'm on a diet. Bing, ah! That's my sound effect for how it all went down. You could see it. I know you could see it.
I could see it. And it was strong.
You're lying. Okay.
I mean, it's wonderful you mentioned there about, we sort of went off on a tangent, but actually your background is in stand-up comedy and you were an actress from a young age. So did that kind of stuff come naturally to you? Like, you both saying you want to be an astronaut, I want to be a footballer. Did sort of doing stand-up come kind of natural? Was it always something you were kind of good at, being funny, or just at least coming up with ideas and playing?
Yeah, well, I wasn't a very attractive child for a while. So
wow.
I was...
For a while,
no, I mean,
like that.
But as a girl, the way to then... Because a lot of people value beauty and stuff, and unfortunately, I wasn't. I was a little funny looking through my formative years, and so I just learned to be funny. It's a lot of women in the stand-up comedy world. We were all like, it took us a little while to get to find our place in society. So we learned to make people laugh, because humor usually comes out of some kind of odd thing or whatever. But I was always born and thinking a little differently. And I mean, I remember one of my mom's friends bought me a T-shirt that says, "I'm just visiting this planet." And they laughed so hard, I knew it was accurate. They're like, she's a little weird, that one.
Right.
But I've got one hell of imagination. I've been writing since I was 6. So I used to write stories and bind them in yarn and illustrate them and sell them to my parents for $1. And they were all like these crazy stories.
Did you? I love that.
So it's like, I was always going to be a writer. The comedy came, the stand-up comedy, I never thought I would do. It seemed like such a hard thing to do. I always had the personality over the looks. So when I grew into, my mom was the same way. She used to tell me, "Faleena, you're going to grow into your looks." Which was such a weird thing. But she had to sit me down because I had all these crushes on guys, and I tried to learn how to skateboard to try and get their attention. And I was trying to do all this stuff, and they're just like, wanted my friends. Well, 16 is when I hit puberty, and 17 is when I graduated. So it was at the very, very end of high school and then by that time, everybody already knew who Faleena was in their mind, and I was not at all somebody that they'd be wanting to, because I was just like a big goofball. Anyway, the years passed. I went into acting, and I went and saw a friend do stand-up. We were going to go see support Jerry at the Improv on Melrose in West Hollywood.
Great.
And we were all in a very serious acting class, Meisner, which I
serious that.
Yes, and I absolutely loved it. That's where I learned everything I know about acting, pretty much. But we all went to support Jerry, and it turned out it was the end of a class. And there were flyers all over on the table. And as I was watching all these people do this stuff, I thought, I wonder if I could do that. And so I picked up a flyer and I took the class, and then I did it for 5 years and really loved it. But if I hadn't gone to go support Jerry, it never would have occurred to me that you could find a way into that world. I loved it, but it ran its course, and I learned what I could. And then it's a hard life.
Yeah.
I still have all my comedian friends, and they're fucking awesome, but it's hard, man.
Very hard.
Do you think is it harder to break in as a female comedian in particular? Was that a challenge for you?
Yeah. Because they all think we're not funny.
That's the tired cliche.
I think you're very funny already.
But that's what they think too. And they have it's really especially then. This was 2000 to 2000 or 99 to 2004 or 5, and it was a boys' club.
Yeah, you carried on the sort of acting world, and you were doing that. Was there always, even back then, was a hankering to get behind the camera? Because you started photography, but was that a different side of what you wanted to do? Was it kind of much more of, were you still, while you were acting, were you looking to do directing work, or was it not even in your mind?
It really wasn't. I was briefly married in my early 20s, and
congratulations.
I used to encourage becoming No. It was a fun ride, but I used to encourage him to be a director.
Wow.
Never did I think I could do it, because he listened to things like the music in a film and the shots, and he saw the natural stuff that I wasn't at that time ready for and didn't realize, and didn't pay more attention until I became a photographer. After that, it all kind of gradually led to where I am now, and it wasn't a lot of planning to do that. But one girlfriend did give me a book, Actors Turned Directors, when in like 1990, and that was, and she inscribed it, and she said, "For when the day comes, Megan."
Wow.
And I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And she saw it before I did. Yeah, it was really, and I kept the book. I have it through like many, many moves and stuff, because it stuck with me. I was like, what made her say that? I thought, it seems like such a lofty thing. Directors are like directors, and how could I possibly do that? It just didn't seem like something I could even aspire to do at the time. And this is before independent filmmaking was happening so wild. I mean, of course, there was John Cassavetes and all those people, but you know how it is. Now we have technology at our fingertips. Now we have so much freedom that we didn't used to have. We used to have to wait for everybody to give us permission, and now we don't. And so I didn't know how somebody like me could get into a world like that, where I'd been trying to get permission to act for so long, and it was just beating me down. Maybe you're going to get hired, maybe you're not, maybe you're going to get the agent, maybe you're not. And it's hard. It's hard. So I didn't think, wow, I'm going to be a director. So did I ever plan it? No. No, I really didn't. Not until I had this script.
There you go. So I suppose it came out of necessity, and it came out of, you saying, I want to do something more with my career. And I'd say this to all actors and any actors that are listening, and also directors, is make your own stuff, write your own stuff. Because if you do, you own it, and you can have control on it, whether it's shot on your iPhone or it's a £50 million budget. It's yours in some way. If it's a £50 million budget, it's probably not yours. But anyway, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You get the metaphor with that.
Absolutely.
So during that time, you were also you started to write novels, and you started to say, I'm going to create my own stuff while you're acting and making things. And you became very, very successful with your novels, which is incredible and wonderful as well. Like I say, you were always writing since you were 6. Did you just, when self-publishing came around, did you just find that was kind of something you could do and go, well, hey, I might as well put these out?
Kind of.
Or was it clearly not that easy?
Well, no, it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of work. But I was watching Girls, that show Lena Dunham did on HBO, and she's another writer-director of her own thing, because she did Tiny Furniture and got found from that, essentially. And I was watching the episode where Hannah, her character, is writing an ebook, and she's hired to write an ebook. And this is 2013. And I go, what the hell is an ebook? After the end of the episode, I thought, what is an ebook? And I started researching it and realized self-publishing was a thing, and had been since like 2011 or maybe even 2010. And I'd never heard of it. And I just started researching everything I possibly could, because again, I always thought I'd write, but I knew it was something that you didn't have an age limit on, which in Hollywood for actors and actresses, especially actresses. I mean, there's a reason why we want our age thing to be hidden on IMDb, right? Because everybody sees you as just that then.
Indeed.
I started researching about self-publishing, and then I was doing photography at this time, and I put all my clients on hold, and I went to my dad's house and stayed up here for 7 weeks and just wrote. And he is friends with an English teacher. She's an award-winning English teacher. She got the Milken Award. She's 8th grade English. Yeah, it's a really, really prestigious award. And she edited my book, pages at a time. So I would write the book, come down and give them the pages, and hear their supportive words. And I published the book, and it was called Fire Nectar, on May 11th. And the book bombed, totally bombed. And so did the second one. And then the next one didn't. And then the next one didn't. And then I started building it up from there. But I realized that I wanted to just do that. And I stopped doing photography at the end of 2015 for good. I was doing just odd clients throughout the whole thing, like the people I loved and already knew. And then I finally said, no more. I need to commit myself to this. And in that, yeah. And switched over to writing books. And then when I wrote this script, I decided I was going to fund it myself. And so I did that with the sales of the books and worked my ass off, or tail off, maybe I'm not supposed to swear.
Yeah, you can.
I worked my ass off. I worked my ass off for years to save the money because, like I hear on your podcast, so many people doing the funding and stuff. And frankly, I was afraid to be gambling with somebody else's money and have people disappointed in me.
That's really
But if it was,
yeah.
well, I thought if it bombed, if it sucked, and I messed up, and if it was on my dime, then nobody lost anything except for some time and hope, and which we've done so many times on other projects anyway. So you're just kind of going in for the project. That's totally okay. But money is where people get weird. And I didn't want people like giving their opinion about who I could cast or getting really mad when things didn't go right or whatever. So I ended up just funding it myself just to have the freedom to know that if I failed, it was on my dime and I didn't have to feel guilty about it.
I think that's really brave. And I think that's really commendable. Because a lot of people will go, I'll just find an investor and, hey, you might get your money back. And you thought about it and you said, actually, I'm going to do this myself. Because it puts you in control.
I mean, you're literally putting your money where your mouth is. Like you're saying, like, no, I believe in this and I'm actually going to put forward the cash myself rather than sort of assuming that someone else is going to pay for your vision, which so many of us do.
Yeah, I like that way of looking at it. Yeah. I just was more scared. I didn't feel considerate. I felt more scared. And also I've been on projects before and you've been on them too, or I've been out of roles. I was supposed to be, I'm not going to name the movie, but it was a really good film. I wasn't in it. So that's why I don't want to name it. I didn't get the part because it went to the producer's girlfriend. And it was her first time acting in anything. And it was a really good movie. And the movie, she did not do a good job. And the movie didn't do well. And it's like, I sat there going, why don't they think about the story first? Like, it's about the story. If the person is right for the role, not because you owe them a favor or going to bed with them or whatever. It's about, because the movie is going to be there forever. Mm-hmm. So we have kind of a responsibility, I think, to create what it's supposed to be. And I wanted to not have anybody tell me who to cast in these roles. And I know, because everybody's like, you have to have names. You have to have names. And I'm like, fuck that. I'll get names if I get them, but I'm going to get who I think is the best for this. Yeah. And I just, who I want to be around, and spend that time with, because you're in the trenches.
I think that shows a lot of integrity. I mean, the example you mentioned there, it's sort of classic Hollywood narcissism, and it's exactly the kind of thing that I think we all hope that the film industry we see less of, as we sort of move on.
Absolutely, and the names you could have that you potentially could have got in there aren't going to be that big to sell the movie around the world anyway. They're going to be, they're from a soap or from a bit of TV, or it's not going to be massive because it's a low budget movie, so it's not going to be a Jude Law's or anything like that. So therefore, when people say that, it's only because they prefer it, so they can say, I'm involved in a film that has so and so from whatever show, Lost and the Damned, or I don't know, something out there. So by having people who've just done some great work and the people you want to have in there, you'll feel best for the role. It's even better to sell it. You sell it on the story. You sell it on, this is just an independent film. Here's the story. This is what it's about. And therefore people can forget about watching so-and-so from, The Bold and the Beautiful or whatever it is, Hollyoaks or whatever, And I think that's great. And I think you stuck to your guns. And what did you write the book knowing you were going to turn it into a film, or did you were like, I'm just going to write another book in my series or a new one in that world, and then after it did well, turn it into a film?
That's a great question. First, can you hear the sprinklers that just turned on around me?
No, it's okay.
Does it sound like static?
We can't hear the
really?
sprinklers. Or at least I can't.
No.
Oh, good, because this is a directional mic, so we're safe. But they literally just sprouted on next to me, and right next to me. I didn't write the book until after I wrote the movie.
So the book is a novelization almost of the film.
Yes, I wrote the movie because there was a screenplay contest. New York Women in Film and Television was having a screenplay contest for women that was sponsored by Meryl Streep, and I entered it, as did every one of my friends, even people who weren't writers or whatever. We all submitted, and I did not get in. But I loved this. I loved the script so much, I decided to make it. Amazing. And I just loved it. You have to, right, when you're getting involved in a project, because you're not going to be with just the few months or month that you're filming or the pre-production, but the years after.
Years and years.
Years and years. Seriously. You have to love it. Yeah,
you really do. Even through the tough times and the hard times, you have to love it with all your heart, because you will hate it. So therefore, the love has to overcome the hate. It just does. It's a lot of work.
That's exactly right.
Yep. Overcome the hate with love.
There are moments when you absolutely hate it. It's so true. Yeah. So, but I wrote the book after, because I wanted to launch them at the same time so that they would support each other. Smart. And also, I'm already a novelist, and so I wanted it to be where, one, hey, go see this one, oh, go read this one. And it was interesting. So
was that the first screenplay you'd written at that point, or had you written other stuff before that?
Yeah, the first feature. I'd written a short and a web series. And it was just like 6 episodes for the web series.
And how did you go about, I guess, mentally preparing yourself for that? Because at the moment, I've sort of mostly directed stuff. I haven't actually written, and I'm currently going through the process of almost learning to try and write for myself, or like writing screenplays and things. And did you do any sort of training, or how did you educate yourself or prepare yourself to start writing the script?
Well, first, I want to encourage you to write.
Yes, I agree.
Robbie, you should definitely write.
I've been telling this for ages. Thank you.
Oh, good. Yes, Giles is correct.
Yes.
You should write. If you have the desire to, it's because you're supposed to. That's what I believe. Yeah. So getting over the hurdles that we all have is just called the resistance. You ever read the War of Art by Stephen Pressfield?
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Brilliant. It's an amazing book, and it's about how we all have to battle our resistance in order to finish it. And that goes into the answer to your question, how did I do it? I also, and I always tell this to everybody I can, I love Stephen King's book on writing, his memoir/book on writing.
Oh, I haven't heard that one. What do you know what it's called, or is it just Stephen King on writing?
It's literally called On Writing. Right. That's why it's so hard to I know it sounds, that's what it's called, and it's got a picture of him in his office, black and white, with his feet kicked up on it, and it's really a great read. It's super pleasurable if you're interested in writing. And I do the same thing he does. I don't outline. I write just by having a situation and characters and letting them take me where they go. How I knew how to do screenplays maybe is from reading so many of them as an actress, and then knowing that. And I had a couple powerful ones, like I have Aaron Sorkin's Newsroom pilot script, and just some. I had the books
which is probably like 200
Kevin
pages
Smith's
or something.
for The Clerks, and
Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah, it's really big actually. It's a big one. Yeah, it is. And reading some good scripts and seeing those, but then because I'm already. I know stories from writing my books, right?
Your book books,
I write.
Yes.
My book books, not a screenplay book. But you're telling the story, but in a screenplay, you're doing it with a lot more images, whereas in the novel, you are saying all the stuff so the images can be in the reader's mind and they are meeting you halfway. But in a screenplay, you have to just see it, and from seeing so many movies as we all have, you're writing the screenplay, seeing it. And also dialogue, this is the trick for both novels and screenplays, you have to say it out loud.
Yeah. Yes.
If you just write it, it comes out grammatically correct. And it's stuff like that you've been taught in school. People don't talk like that. And you get to you embody the characters a little bit. And it might feel a little funny, but you have to be that person. You have to think, do I know somebody like that? How does that person talk? And you get into that person's head with each thing, and so that you're sounding like them. You're making them come to life. And you're acting out the scene. And then, after I finished Just One More Kiss, I put together a thing where we did a table read with people. And this was just in Los Angeles. Yeah. And the people this was a few years before we actually ended up doing the movie. So these people aren't in the film; they were friends and actors who were interested in just doing. You love to sit around and read a script out loud.
Yeah, totally.
So and then give notes, and so you get to hear it out loud then as well.
I think it's vital.
And that's nice too.
Yeah, I think it's so important.
Yeah, you like it?
To do that. Yeah, I love doing that. I mean, I'm writing with a couple of people at the moment, but one I'm really working a lot on at the moment is a romantic comedy. And me and Noel, who are writing it together, we just read it out every single bit we write. We then will play out the character. Like, you play this character, you play this character. And obviously, over the time, we found set characters that we find, and therefore we write for those more because we understand that character more, because we're reading it constantly out loud in character. And it helps that we're actors or were, because then you can give it some emotion. But I totally agree. If you're not an actor, read it out loud anyway and record it and hear it back and see how wooden it sounds. But also, there's plenty of actors out there who will happily read it for you, even on Zoom. So there's no excuses now to not hear it back, and don't worry about it not being ready or good enough, because they'll just give you feedback on their characters, the actors, and that's what's important, the characters.
I love that, Giles. That sounds like so much fun, what you were saying, where you guys act it out and to hear it together. That sounds really fun. And I remember you said in one of the podcasts when this epidemic, the pandemic, first started out, you're like, this is a perfect time with Zoom because people are going to be aching to help and be creative. So this is a great time to reach out to actors or anybody and read things aloud, won't it? Yes. Right?
Yeah, totally. And we did it as well. We did a Zoom cast read of it. Whether any of these people will be in the movie is irrelevant. We did it out loud, and they came up with so many amazing things about the characters that you didn't think of. It was like, why has this character disappeared? Or why do they say that when later on they're the completely opposite? And, you hear it out loud and it changes everything. It's definitely really important. But like I say, there's people around now, so you can ask. It has opened up a lot, so it's great. But you being on your own, because I like to write with other people, I prefer it. But when you're writing on your own, do you just read out each character sort of individually? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I have, I say them, I can hear them in my head. It's a little nutty.
They speak to me.
But I can hear... Yeah, they do. I always say, I tell my readers, that's what they wanted to have happen. And one of the things about not planning is I never know what's going to happen next. So I tend to do my best on the first draft, and then I go, my easiest is the first draft, and then going back and fixing it all is more, it's almost harder for me because I already know the story, and then it's just about editing, and that's kind of the slog work for me. I'm like, and I'll go back and I think it's easier when you're saying it out loud, and that's when I'll really say it out loud and stuff, because then you have to make it more fun to get past the slog work.
Yes.
Because otherwise I want to just stop. So that's my resistance, right? When we're talking about the resistance stops us all, and what is your form? Mine is right before the finish line. I want to stop.
Gosh.
So yeah, I'm like, I'm not going to do this anymore.
This is a load of crap.
I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, not going anywhere.
I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
There's something else I could do. What am I doing this for? I'm hungry. Where's the popcorn? You know what I mean? It's like,
where are the donuts?
Yeah, where are the donuts? Where are the donuts with the AK-47s hiding behind them?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God.
I love that was your journey into sort of scripting and how that works for you. And I think that's fantastic. And I think it's inspiring as well, when we get to that point where our bodies do say stop, our minds say stop. That's the moment to fight through it and go, actually, no, I do need to keep going. I do need to read that draft again. I do need to rework it, because it's really hard. And yeah, but nothing is easy. You think Aaron Sorkin finds it easy? You think it's not. It's really, really hard. And acknowledge
really
that
hard.
And go, well, if it's going to be hard, I've got to work harder to get through that. Because to be good, you have to practice. And the more crap scripts you write, the better writer you'll be. That's just the way it is.
I think there's a famous story of when Aaron Sorkin and David Fincher were working on The Social Network, and because David Fincher wanted the script to be lightning fast, like really, really fast, and they had to prove to the studio that the script would actually fit within the runtime by, I think, David Fincher made Aaron Sorkin read out aloud the whole script, like within using his iPhone, just recording him within the runtime of the film, like really, really fast, and then sent it to the studio just to see. Yeah, that's how we're going to do it.
That's incredible. I'm watching this amazing behind the scenes at the moment on the social network. Great. It's on YouTube. Yeah. It's the behind the scenes of making of the movie. I highly recommend watching it. Go to YouTube, social network behind the scenes. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So basically, you managed to fund your movie, and this is incredible, from writing novels, from your novel work. And that is wonderful. So now you've got to the stage where you can go, right, I can go make your feature film. What was the next step for you? Because you'd not made a feature before like that. Not really. You worked on a lot of
I never had.
TV, a lot of films, but not as a sort of producer, writer, director, the whole hat, and actor. What did you do?
Well, I had, I knew that I needed to find a producer who was on my same wavelength, that would not try to make me do something other than what I'd already planned to do. Because, they're like, yeah, sure, let's do it that way. Except for we're going to really do it this way. And I needed somebody who was also thinking indie, who was fine with me casting who I wanted, who who knew we could do it in the budget that we had. And that was, we did it for $130,000.
Right.
At the end. So it's like, if we didn't have more, there was not going to be more, and I wasn't going to have investors, and how do I find this? But I didn't know how to do that, and I wasn't really ready to, frankly, when I found him. And the way I found him is I was living in New York at this time, and it was winter. It was January 31st, I believe, or maybe the 30th.
Okay.
And I was walking my dog, and she's a rescue dog, and I just got her in December beforehand. Yeah, she's mostly hairless because of a lot of different reasons. I'm not gonna. It's a sad story, but she's great now. She's the one next to me, and anyway, I was walking her, and the reason why that's important is I'd locked myself out.
Right.
I locked myself out of the building with this dog I only had for a month and a half. She's mostly hairless. I've got a coat on her, but it's snowing, and
brilliant. Even better.
Yeah, and so I buzzed the neighbor. And I knew him, and he had someone staying with him who happened to turn out to be my producer. And the guy who was staying with him and so I buzzed him, and he goes, "Hey, Faleena, yeah, come on in." So I go up to the building. I have a key code or a number code to get into the apartment, or had one. To get into the apartment. So it was really just getting into the building I needed. I could get into the apartment even if my keys weren't with me. But he opened the door because he knew I was an actress. He didn't know I had a movie. And he knew that his friend was a producer. And he thought his producer friend would want to have sex with an actress.
Oh, wow.
I'm not even kidding. He's like, oh, producers are supposed to be with actresses. And little did he know that I'm not at all my producer's type. And also he's not that kind of producer. So, but he didn't because I'll tell you, the truth was it was an Airbnb thing. Right, and so my producer wasn't even close with him. And so I meet him, and Joe Barbagallo, he ends up being my producer. And Joe and I shake hands, and he gives me none of that vibe. And I had no idea until later that it was a setup, supposedly going to maybe be. But Joe and I start chatting, and I go, hey, I said, so what kind of advice? And he goes, I'll tell you what, you have to like who you work with, because you're going to be working with them for years.
Yep.
He goes, that's the number one thing I can tell you from my experience. And I said, great. And so I went back into my apartment, and I ordered takeout from Postmates. Do you have Postmates over in the UK?
Nope. Not heard of that.
It's like a people bring you food.
We do have that.
So
it's just not called that, is it? I've not heard of that.
It's a delivery service. It's a delivery service over here.
Fine.
And it was relatively new. Anyway, I order Postmates, and I get a call from that neighbor guy. And he says to me, I can't even remember his name right now, but that's okay. Because like I said, he had kind of slimy intentions, so we're going to leave his name out of this.
Yeah, we'll leave him.
So, but he says, hey, Joe and I are going to go get some dinner. Want to come? And I said, absolutely. can you give me 30 minutes? Because the food was going to be there in 30 minutes. And I needed to hide the fact that I'd already ordered dinner. Amazing. So I ran down the stairs when the delivery guy came, and I hid my food in my fridge, and I went out and joined them to dinner, because when I met Joe, I was looking at him and I go, I think this guy is my producer.
Wow.
And it was just this weird instinct feeling. And then 3 months later, we were in pre-production.
That is wonderful. I love serendipity like that, when moments just happen and you meet producers or you meet a writer or whoever it is, a collaborator, and you just think, yeah, I'm going to work with you. And they're probably thinking the same or hoping the same. I love it when that happens. It's such a great feeling.
That's why he suggested going out to dinner. Yeah, he was like, well, ask Faleena if she wants to come. And then he said, so you have this script, I'd like to read this script. And I'm like, I'm not ready yet. And he thought I said, when I'm ready or when it's done or whatever. And I'm like, no, I meant I wasn't ready. That we've like argued over that since then. And I'm like, no. I said, I'm not ready to do it yet, because I knew I'd have to commit myself completely. And I was fully into the novels at the point. I have a series going called The Cocker Brothers. Yes. And my readers are always like, when's the next book? So I knew pausing it was going to be a problem. So I go... But we ended up getting along great. I gave him the script, and he said, I need a few days. I take my time with things. And I'm like, okay. He calls me the next day, and he read it, and we've already outed him for this. He called me. He was at a coffee shop and started crying reading the script.
Oh, beautiful.
And he's like, he's Joe Barbagallo, right? He's Italian. He's a New Yorker. He's like, he doesn't cry in a freaking coffee shop. So he's like, I probably shouldn't have read this in public. Like he said. It was the sweetest thing. Yeah. But from that point on, he was in, and we just went.
That's so good. So excellent. So what did you do then? How did you, like you said, you just went. What was the process? Because it must have been daunting.
Yes. No. That's what I can share to help other filmmakers. What we did was we knew we were going to go for a bare bones crew, and we knew that because I had read Ed Burns's Independent Ed.
Brilliant book. 100% recommend.
I love it.
Yeah,
right?
It's so good.
So good. Yeah. And so we passed it around to the crew. Everybody read it except for Micah, the sound girl. She was fully on anyway. But we were just getting our idea around this can be done with 3 or 4 people. Yeah. And we needed to do that. What we needed to do, and I had seen some Q&As with David O. Russell, Silver Linings Playbook, The Fighter, etc. Yeah. And he lights the room so that there isn't a bunch of lighting equipment. There's just the existing lighting, and it's him and the camera guy, and they are working with the actors, and they're doing the whole scene all the way through, so that the actors get a chance to really live in their roles, not get stopped, not then have to do the other side, and et cetera, and then change all of the equipment to one side of the room and then the other side of the room. So I thought that was fascinating and also extremely time saving and money saving. Because if we can have available light work with the cameras that they have today, where you can do, and I knew this from doing photography work, you can bump up the ISO on something and you have a really interestingly lit room. Mm-hmm. So we planned on we needed to get a cinematographer on board that would be willing to do all that, right? So that we wanted somebody who was really talented, as Colin Brazy is our cinematographer, and he was really talented, and he was traveling the country with a TV show that he was, doing all this stuff. And I was telling him, you have to go back to your film school roots where you didn't have all the luxury you have right now. Can you do that? We're basically going like, can we go back to brass tacks? Can we make this happen? And he read the Independent Ed. He was all for it.
That's great, because a lot of DOPs wouldn't necessarily do that. They'd be sort of like, I need all my lights and all the gear. So it's great to have someone who can be flexible like that.
Well, that's the thing is we went on Production Hub and we interviewed people. And I did experience people like that, Robbie. There were people, and that's okay, because you want to know, because you don't want to be arguing on set over this stuff.
Definitely
right?
Don't. No. Yeah.
You're going to be having your own problems on set. Like something else is going to pop up you never expected. So, and I knew that from being on the other side of the camera. So I'm like, okay. So we were very clear. We were like, this is what we're doing. I remember we had one girl who was going to come and she was going to be the AD. And we talked to her for so long that we ended up hearing this wonderful story about how she had. I don't know if I should. I don't know if I should say it. Anyway, she said some pretty bad stuff about her previous director and producer and how she'd worked around it, and the way she'd done it, the way she'd handled the situation, said we did not want her on our set.
Oh,
so it's really important to have an interview where you really talk bare bones about what you're going to do, and you ask them as well, like, so what are your situations like? What were some of the trying times? Like, how did you handle that? Because everybody's got the horror story. So what did you do? Like, how did you overcome it? And then you can hear how they overcame things, and they will give you the answers of who they are.
That is great.
And it's almost like you're interviewing for like someone, like a roommate at your flat, or even, I don't know, you're interviewing to be like for people that you're going to be potentially stuck in a submarine for days on end. It's like imagine you had to, you're interviewing for that sort of scenario. That's kind of the reality.
We've got a dead body. It's in the house. How would you go about getting rid of it? And if they first of all go, well, the last time I did this, you kind of go, we're probably not going to work together.
You don't want people who are going to be stressing out too much and constantly on edge. You want people who are going to, make everyone feel relaxed and who are going to be quite easygoing.
Team players. Totally. You need, in the trenches, you need team players. And I'm so glad you did that. And that's such great advice to do that. Thank you. Really interesting. You're going to talk about William because you're your production manager. Because on a film like this, it's really important to have great sort of people who are either your first or production managers who are just running the tight ship where everyone else is on the top losing their heads, if you like, and got to do this, got to do that, quick, lights going, got to get this, that bulb's gone, quick run round. And you were about to talk about William, so please.
Yes, William had worked with Joe before. He was the only one who had worked with Joe before in the actual production. In post, we used other people that Joe had worked with. But he had found William on a set that was such a disaster that's how he knew William was that good, because William kept his head and William was doing a lot more than his normal job. And that's what you need on an indie film. You need somebody who's able to do all the jobs. Yes. Like me, I mean, I'm writer, director, editor, actor, and everybody was like that. It wasn't just me. Joe also plays Barry in the film. And I cast him because I loved his reel. I wouldn't have cast him. I didn't cast him because he was a producer, by the way. In fact, I actually said, even if you don't come on as the producer, I would really like you to play Barry because I think you're kind of perfect for him.
Right.
And
that worked.
And so that's, and then he read the script and decided he wanted to, and he was in. But I wouldn't have done it because of that. But with William, he introduced us, and William was just on board, and William was the AD, the AC, and so we called him the production manager. We asked him what we wanted to actually call him on the IMDb credit, but he just did everything. So he sent out the call sheets. He put the files into the computer at the end of the day so that we would have them in the storage in our
hard drives.
And we had a couple hard drives.
Yes.
Yeah, he did that. Thank you.
I know. We got that. And so how did you? So I suppose just before we dive straight into actually making the film.
Oh yeah, let's actually go to the pre.
No, it's
so
totally
we did
fine.
the production hub.
Yeah, production hub. Yeah,
we did the production hub. We interviewed the main core people that we needed, and while we did that, we were having submissions on breakdown services for actors to submit. And then I was watching their reels, and everybody was supposed to be a local hire because I couldn't afford to pay for hotels and stuff like that, even though we were doing most of it. Right. But we actually ended up doing most of the filming was in upstate, which I did have to do Airbnbs and pay for that. But to fly somebody in was another additional expense, and we just couldn't do that. So we did all local hires except for Frances, kind of fibbed. She plays Alice in the film, and she's actually in Virginia, but she could be a local hire if she wanted to be. So we had to do her thing over Zoom.
Okay.
And and the locations. We went upstate. Joe had a connection with the cabin. His lawyer's family had the cabin, and they were down for it. They read the script. She likes thrillers more. Okay. She would have preferred it to be a thriller, but she was down for it anyway. But they were super supportive and super awesome. And then we just drove around New Paltz looking for the locations that were in the movie, and made friends with everybody and talked to everybody, and everything just started really falling into place. And there was problems, like catering was an issue, to find something that was inexpensive enough, and also give us variety where people aren't like tearing out their hair.
Yeah, the same meal every day. Yes.
Yeah, you just can't. And then finding the Airbnbs, you got to feed them. You got to feed them well. So we knew that was a major part of the budget.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. And we had an editor there. And that's when we learned that he wasn't quite getting the film. So that was our major trial on set. But yeah, so right. The pre was all that. It was just kind of finding the pieces and putting them together.
So basically, yeah, which is incredible. Basically, going around, getting your crew, getting it together, and planning it and prepping it. I imagine that for you, because you're the director, writer, and star, that must have been, you're like, okay, well, I could shoot from here, I could do this. That must have been really interesting for you as that creative. Your mind must have just been flying all over the place with information. I know mine would be.
Yeah. And one thing I will say that could help filmmakers that we found was helpful is we put each scene, we had a big black board. It was for photography, you have the white bounce and you've got the black. And we got Post-it notes, and we put each scene on a Post-it note. And we put all the green Post-it notes were upstate because we thought like green country. And the pink ones were New York. And we put each scene on each Post-it note and each actor, because when you're having people come upstate or to be on set, some of them overlapped. Like we had the parents were in a scene with Jack, who is a local in the area in the movie, and they had one scene together, but they're also not toward the end of the film. So we needed them up there at the same time, but not, you know what I mean, like overlapping, so that we didn't have to pay for them to, come back up and like go back and forth. So in order to organize the whole thing, we had Post-it notes of everything, and then we just moved the Post-it notes around and organized our shot list from there. So the Post-it notes allowed us to rip it off and move it over here and do our shot list where we were it was me, Joe, Colin, and William, just hashing it out and making our entire schedule for the shoot.
Fantastic.
Wow. I love it. Would you mind giving us the synopsis of the film, the pitch, and then Robbie will play the trailer, and then we'll carry on.
Not live. We'll do it in the edit.
Yes.
I was like, what?
Yeah. And we'll just sit and listen to it for a minute. No, we'll drop that in later with the magic of editing.
Okay, the pitch is, it's the ghost of a woman's husband comes back to help her move on. But how do you say goodbye to true love twice?
Brilliant.
Boom. Wow. So cool. And that was a trailer. That will link to that is in the show notes, so you can see that as well. Brilliant. So yeah, look, it's such a really interesting story. It's really sort of cool and different, but also you feel like you want to watch this kind of movie because it's got so much heart and pain, and it's about grief and loss, and but at the same time it's still got a lot of heart and love, and you can't help feel for the characters. Going about shooting this then as the director, Star, how did you plan the shots? Like you said, you've obviously done your board, you've done all that, but when you're on set now, we're talking about on set, how did that work?
Well, one of the bonuses about writing it is I'd already seen it in my mind as I wrote it. So I knew how I wanted things to happen. And because I'd watched the Q&As with David O. Russell, I knew what we were going to do, and they were all on board with it. And the actors loved it, where we did the whole scenes pretty much from start to finish, where Colin would be on one, like when when the parents are there for dinner, for example, he's just on the mom for most of it, right? And then he's like switching around, or he's following people. It was crazy in the editing process, but it was really fun to do for all of us, to go the whole route. So we staged it. We did a couple rehearsals where we were just finding where we're going to go. Like one of the things, Patrick Zeller plays Max in the film,
brilliantly well.
Abby's husband, the lead. He's freaking amazing. So when you have the right actors in the role, you're like, this is it, you know? It was easy to film them.
Great. So it means on set then you could just rehearse it like not a play, but you'd rehearse it that way.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, Colin,
like a play.
I want it, this shot. Is that what you did? Did you then talk through your shots with him? And then you went, right, get on with it. Yep. I need to stay in character. Or were you jumping behind to see playback as well? How did you do that?
I hardly ever looked behind. In fact, he wanted me to more in the beginning, but then he started getting it that I trusted him. So I would look at the first one and he goes, you want to take a look? He'd always do like that. You want to take a look? Like, you want to look at this, Faleena? Or are you just leaving me out here to hang? It was like the vibe behind it. Yeah. But what he started to understand was I trusted him. I wasn't leaving him out there to hang. I was like, no, I think you get this. And so, because I would look at it once, there's actually a picture I just posted on my Instagram, this like 10 shot thing where I'm like, support the arts, post you in your role. And one of them is William and Colin, looking at the camera, and I'm sitting down and looking at it, and I'm totally, my face is all like twisted up because I'm like, oh my God, you did it. And it's our first day of filming. It's our first day of filming. And I'm just like, this is it. Like I love this guy. It was really great. He's a very, very talented cinematographer. Oh, and I also forgot, I haven't mentioned Stink Fisher. He's such a great actor. I want to mention that too. He plays Jack, because I just gave kudos to the other guys. God, isn't he good?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it was really nice that all your cast were all at the same wonderful level and really delivering and going there, and it really helped the film because you were all like, yeah, everyone's in this. This is a team game. You could tell from the off that this was something that was made with love, sweat, tears, and an absolute desire to make a really great indie film. And I think you've totally pulled it off. I think it's really good film. I'm very impressed that you've done this. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Was there anything else on set that happened that you can remember that you went, I should have done that differently, or that was amazing, I'm so glad we did that, for filmmakers out there that you learned as a writer, actor, director?
That's a good question. Well, here's one thing that I'm sure a lot of filmmakers will face. We had, all of a sudden, the landscaper who was supposed to be there mowing the lawn decided to show up when we were filming.
Of course he did.
and he knew that because he wanted to be paid off. And so we had to pay him off, but I can't even tell you how mad I was because I hate manipulation and lies. Yeah. And I was like, oh, you little bastard, you did this. And he was such a prick about it. He was just like, yeah, well, guess you can't film then. Like, he was literally saying that to me. And I'm like, oh, I have saved 3 years for this. Do not get in my way. You know? Oh, God.
Oh, God. It sounds amazing. It sounds like you just got on with it. There's so many things can go wrong on a set, and so many things can happen to trip you up, whether it's, a door breaks and you need it for the reverse or whatever, and you've got to screw it back on. There's no screwdriver, or there's no this. There's so many things that happen. That's just a tiny thing. It's incredible. So you need to be on top of everything and have everything prepared as much as you can, and just know that everything's going to go wrong.
And be fully prepared to accept, throw all that out of the window.
Yeah, when you get there, and and the gardener turns up, or the landscaper.
I almost forgot until you just said that, because frankly, I probably blocked it out. I almost broke my foot in the first week of shooting. Wow. A stereo from the 70s that couldn't have been any heavier. Like, all the guys lifted it and they're like, this is like a barbell, because they couldn't understand why it had that impact on my foot. Its corner went down on my right foot, and my foot swelled up like a basketball. And so I was shoeless in most of the things from that point on, and limping. And like, you could see it in the bridge scene at the end, my little puffy foot as I'm walking by. And I told Colin, I go, I think I broke my foot. You broke your foot? I go, I think I might have broke my foot. It was the first week in. So for the next 3 weeks, I was a lame director actress walking around. And they're like, you need to go to a hospital. I'm like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
They're going to put a thing on it, and then I can't wear any of the wardrobe we
totally,
have.
and they'll tell you to rest and not do anything. So you were like, sod it.
Yeah.
Filmmaking.
Sod it. No. Every day I had ice pack, and I brought it to set too, but I'd have it up and I just sleep with my foot on pillows.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no. You were the walking wounded.
Yes. So things happen on set.
Yeah,
You have to know what's going to happen.
They do. Things.
Moral of the story. Things happen.
Let's talk about post real quick, because the film has released in America, right? And we're hearing about news of everywhere else soon. And this is a huge achievement. How did you go about it then? Because you learned to edit, and obviously we can go into massive detail about that, but you watch YouTube videos and learned to edit because your other editor you'd moved on from. That must have been daunting, but from that, and that's an incredible feat, by the way. I'm not brushing over it. It's so cool that you learned to do that. And then going into post and how that was for you, because suddenly now you've just got a load of files and you on your own has to sit there and put it together. Yeah, I suppose you and Joe. Yeah. Talk us through that.
No, I put it together. Joe didn't know anything about editing, but he was my support. No, seriously, and he would tell you that.
He brought the coffee.
Yeah, well, and he brought the support. There was one moment when because it was days and days and days of all day. And I mean, I told Patrick, he's like, God, good job with the editing. I'm like, yeah, I lost two months of my life, but thanks. And he's like, yeah, that's what it felt like. And I did not do anything except for edit that film. I mean, I'm proud of it. Like I'm happy with what it was, but I lost my mind. Like I called Joe and I just started crying. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? Why am I doing any of this? This film's never going to be seen by anybody. And he goes, he very calmly, which is what he's really good at. He goes, Faleena, I expected this call 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
You're doing fine. You're doing great. Keep going.
You've done 2 weeks
and
more
I was like,
than I thought you would.
That's fantastic.
Okay. You know, and then I went and I did it. And anyway, how we got it to go after that was when I finally got it done, we sent it off to Sundance. We were waiting then I just kept editing it. And Joe brought in an amazing composing team. I don't know if you noticed the music in the film, but they are...
I was going to say the score is amazing.
Renee and David, right?
They're so good. Yeah, Renee and David. And they're in Germany. David's actually in Los Angeles now, but they were in Germany. And so everything we did was through Google Hangouts. So we... and it was interesting because I'd never worked with composers before, and I didn't know how to tell them what I needed because music isn't my strong suit. So I would say the emotions of it, and they perceived it and made it that. And initially, what they first came out with wasn't it at all. And so I would listen to it. I go, I'm thinking more this. And the next time they brought it to me, it was what I wanted. So you have to get somebody who can visually see sound. You know what I mean? Because I could only explain it visually and through emotions. And I was like, no, this is a moment where Abby's on the edge, okay? And I need sad, but not where it's like hitting you so hard where you're like, please don't, just stop. You need it to be beautiful, but I needed her to be where it's just a kind of feeling where you're just, that's how I would do it basically. And they would go, okay. And they'd come back with this amazing stuff. I highly recommend them if you can ever work with them. Just do it. They're so good. They're blowing up a little bit, so get in it.
Sure. But and touching on that, having a great sound mix can change your film drastically from being from when you were editing it and nothing to do with your sound mix, but suddenly when someone puts proper sound mix on, you go, oh, that changes everything. Just dropping layers.
And you can tell an amateur film from it.
You really can. Sound is so important. And I was really impressed by how good the sound was.
Yeah, it's in my notes. It sounded really crisp.
Well done there. So how did you get it released then? From there, what did you do to get it out there into the world? How did you actually get eyeballs on it and it be an actual thing.
I love this story because I think it's going to help a lot of people. You got to follow your instincts, because we got into only 2 festivals, and the first one we were told not to do. It was the Hollywood Real Film Festival in Los Angeles, and it's a smaller festival. But I didn't have any connections with any of the festivals. I'm a first-time person, and I didn't even know which ones to submit to. So I only submitted to about 25. And we got into only 2, and I talked to a publicist friend, and I wanted her to promote it. And she actually instead told me not to do it. Huh. And I called Joe, and I'm like, okay, so she tells me we're not supposed to do this, but I feel like we should. And he goes, you know what I think? I think we go, we have fun, we're on the big screen, we have our friends come if they're in town, and we just have a good time with it. And I go, I love that. And he goes, let's do it. I go, let's do it. It was from that festival that we got our sales agent.
Amazing.
If we hadn't gone, if we had said, and she goes, I don't think that should be your premiere, because it's all about the premiere, right?
Yeah.
And I go, so we went and we got our sales agent, Blood, Sweat, Honey. Alex is our sales rep, and I love him.
That's great. And it's a great title as well. It's a great name, Blood, Sweat and Honey. It's kind of like what we make movies on. If everyone had honey on set, it's like blood, sweat and a bit of sugar.
You don't know what's going to come around the corner, and you don't know if that's the one you're supposed to be at. That's why I always like to take invitations when they feel good to a party or whatever. You never know who that could be, where you meet the love of your life or your new best friend, or anything. Like, you just kind of go, maybe the door is open because I'm supposed to walk through it.
Exactly. And it goes back right to the start of what you were talking about when you banged on the door because you'd forgotten your key, and there was Joe Barbagallo.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's like, should we go for something to eat? And you went yes, even though you'd ordered food. Do you know what I mean? It's instinct. And as filmmakers, we have to do that. Follow our instinct. Otherwise we'll sitting in our room all the time complaining we're not making films. Get out to events. Constantly get to events. Obviously we can't right now. But when this is over, get back to events and get talking.
Right.
So Blood, Sweat, Honey picked it up. They're releasing it. Do you want to give us where people can find it now?
So the movie is on Amazon, and it's on Amazon US. They're still talking with getting some deals over in the UK and all abroad and everything. And if they had it on Amazon already, it would, I guess, not make the deal as strong. People want to be the one to release it, I guess. So other foreign distribution companies. I want it there now because I have readers in the UK who are wondering why they can't get it. But it's also on YouTube for rent now. And I think with Red Boxes. And this was so cool. One of the girls in the movie, Jackie, she plays Jennifer, Abby's best friend, who's in the early part of the film. She just sent me a screenshot. She and her boyfriend are at a hotel, and Just One More Kiss is in the Hollywood Films listings. It was,
no way.
Yes. She goes, oh, look what movie's here. And I go, what is this? What is this that you're looking at? And it was one of, there were 67 movies, and my movie was there next to Bombshell and Parasite. And I was like, what?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Independent film rocks. It rules. Yeah.
It's amazing. So it's available in hotels somewhere. Maybe it's on airplanes and I don't know about it. I don't know. It's the first quarter is when it launched. We were like the Dare. I think didn't that go on in beginning of March?
It did, yeah.
It went live. Us too. Ours was March. So because of that weird quarterly thing, the monies weren't there yet. So we haven't got the statements. We're going to get it for the next quarter. We're going to find out where the sales have gone. And I've never seen anything like this, so I don't know what to expect. But they're going to send us this whole chart, I'm guessing. And it's weird because normally I'm a self-pub, so I get to see all my sales on Amazon. I know if a book is doing well or if it isn't. I know if ads are working or if they're not. Yeah. And like I did Facebook ads. I wanted to say that for listeners too. I did Facebook ads to get the word out for our movie when it went on Amazon. So I strongly recommend Facebook because everybody's on Facebook. And Facebook ads, you can narrow it down to age range, gender, interests. So I targeted romance lovers, romance movies, dramas and comedy, because usually they like both. And it targets a certain amount of people based on that. And so I went for women because even though men love the film, it's more women who probably would sign on to it, and they'll probably bring their guys with them. So you're spending your hard-earned money, so you're going to try and target it as specifically as you possibly can. So for me, I went for romance, women. And I did, I think 33 and up.
Yes.
Because I was doing more women who might understand what it's like to possibly lose a husband. Because one of the things about this film is also the having a life after, about moving on. It's about healing. It's about grief, but it's also about how can you keep going after something like that? And that's really what I wanted to help. So I kind of wanted to get people who might have gone, through that. So a lot of times I went 44 and up. And I just kind of targeted who might be interested in it. And I put $1,600 in it in March and April, and I got 16,000 clicks.
That is
16,000.
amazing.
Yeah, it averaged out to 10 cents per click, which is really good. So it's like 8 to 9 cents or 11 to 12 cents, and it averaged out to 10 cents per click. And everybody going to the Amazon website. Now, whether they get it or not, because they priced it a little high, I think. I wish they would have done more $3.99. They did $5.99, but it's distributed also through Lionsgate, and they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing, yeah.
I gave my suggestion, but that's all I could do. And anyway, 16,000 clicks.
That's incredible. And that's great
That's
advice.
awesome.
And I always say you should put this into your budget from the very beginning, is have a marketing budget so you can do that as well. If it's your movie and you care about it, even though a distributor might be doing it or a sales agent, it's just about you also doing it because it's your film and it's your name and you want to get it out there. And the more sales it does, the more likely you're going to move forward next time. So yeah. So final bit of advice then, from looking back now, before you'd made a movie like this, what would that be?
I would say, and I know a lot of people have said this before, but it's just true. I think you just need to do it. And you touched on a little bit as well. If you just follow the instincts and just do it and don't stop yourself, that is the number one thing you can possibly do. So, and that applies to every stage through it. So every time you're going to hit a bump, every time I've found that a wall is put in front of me, I'm either supposed to go through another door or I'm supposed to break down that wall. So you have to love the project so much that you're willing to go to war for it, really. And the war is so much more fun than an office job. So what really is the complaint?
So
like, go and make the creative thing. And also what I told Robbie about, like, you got to write if you feel like you're supposed to. So if there is a movie if you're trying to just do it because you want the notoriety or you want the pictures or you want to get laid, I would not suggest you do it. You have to do it because you love this story so much that you're willing to put years of your life into it.
Yeah.
And if I know that I want this story to live on, and that's why I put all this into it. I mean, every step of the way, I kept saying, but it's the story. I mean, there's so many times when you're just like, and then you go back to, do I want to make this? Yes, I do. And so you keep going. So it has to be something you want to make so bad that you don't care what tries to stop you. And I also think that those things are kind of pulled up to go, really? You want it? You want it? You want it? Come and get it. Because a lot of people will fail because they didn't keep going.
So true.
The only time you fail is if you stop.
Well, that's really good advice. And I just want to say congrats for making it through that and hearing some of the behind the scenes stories about it. It's been, it's made it even more inspiring, I think.
Thanks, guys. And congratulations to you too. This is an amazing podcast.
Wow.
You have a lot of people listening to you and you're helping a lot of people. And you guys must be getting so much help too. We're listening to all these fascinating people. You get to interview them and spend time.
Yep.
I love that. It's such a great idea to do.
Yeah, that's why we do it, really. It's to take advantage of, soak in all of this kind of knowledge that comes our way.
Yeah, it's better. You couldn't read enough books to learn what we've learned doing the podcast. So it helps us as well.
Oh.
So it works both ways. So where can people find you on the socials?
I'm on Facebook. You can find me just with my name, Faleena Hopkins. I have the personal account. I also have author Faleena Hopkins as the fan page. But if you're a guy, you probably don't want to follow that. You're going to see some things. So, but please friend me on Facebook. I have a public page. It's out there. Also, my Instagram is Faleena Hopkins Official. And that's just because the Faleena Hopkins thing had been taken. So I just put the official on there. It sounds so stupid, but that's what it is. And what else? IMDb is my regular name and everything too. So yeah.
I love it. And is the website for the movie?
Yeah.
Is there a website for the movie?
It's at Morning Dove Pictures, morningdovepictures.com, with an MORN, not like morning, like morning, like cry morning.
Cry morning.
Because I think they're actually supposed to be spelled with a U, but I got rid of it and made it more sunny.
I love it.
Yeah, that
so
sounds
just
good.
One More Kiss. You can get it. Go watch it if you're in the US, and we'll let you know details where it will be around the world as well. You remember, you can go make your indie film. You can make it happen. Look up to the stars, not down at your feet. And if you're lucky enough to rise up and do well, it's your duty to send the elevator back down. Faleena Hopkins, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Giles. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you guys so much.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you. We will see you all next Tuesday. Go out there, make your film. Even if you can't go out, do that from your home, but move forward, make your film, make it happen. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening. Take care. See you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.